Hello, I'm Dapher, David Fernando, and this is Nicolau Lucala. Welcome to answer my questions. I am Dapher, David Fernando. My guest for today's edition is Nicolau Lucala. Yes? Who
Just
is Lucala? What language is it? Kikongo? Kimbundo?
Kimbundu.
Okay, what does it mean?
Malange is a river.
A river, Lucala.
I'm
river.
still finding the
Lucala.
meaning, but it's originated from Kimbundu, and the river that I think crosses Kwanzaa North, Malange, and it's a very extended river.
Oh, okay.
It's a family name as well.
Good. Have you ever been to that river?
So far, not.
Okay.
I have not.
All right.
But maybe in the near future, I'll be.
Well, you should go there.
Yes, for sure.
You should go there. You and your family.
Yes.
You go there so as to swim there.
For sure. To connect with the origins.
Yes. I remember
necessary.
going to the village where I was born.
Okay.
I went there with my firstborn.
Okay.
My firstborn, by that time she was, I think she was 4 or 5.
4.
Yes, now she's 14. She'll be turning 15 very
14.
soon. Yes.
Wow,
and we might have a party maybe in June.
That's great.
I hope we can have a party.
Great.
Yeah, because she's already saying, Daddy, I'll be turning 15. And 15, it's 15, Daddy. Yes, we'll have
15,
to do something. Yes. Yeah, we went
it's
there.
A grown man.
I told her to swim.
Yes.
She was afraid.
Of course.
But then I said, no, look, your great grandparents.
Yes.
Your great parents, they drank this water.
Yeah.
So you also have to drink it.
For sure.
You go to church, and when you go to church, I think you sometimes hear people talking about Abraham.
Yes.
And Joseph, when Joseph died in Egypt, but he said that you should take my bones, you should bury my bones where my ancestors were buried.
For sure.
So drink this water. Don't worry, you will not die. Let me drink it first.
And that gave them a sense
confidence,
of identity also.
Yes. Yeah.
It's always good to know where you come from, because it's not just support you as a person, but gives you confidence of existence. It's something very
Robert Federico. Is he your friend?
Yes, he's from Kazang as well.
Yeah.
He's a long-time friend.
That's
sure.
the house.
Yes.
Okay. My guest for today's edition is organizational psychologist.
Yes.
And also an English
consultant.
Yeah, an English consultant.
I can explain it later.
Yes. And some of the things that he does. And he is here to answer my questions and also your questions on different topics, such as mental health, young people searching for job, because there are some people who don't know how to search for a job.
For sure.
Yeah. So if you're a job seeker, he is the right person to advise you. Yeah. And he will also answer questions on psychological issues. Yeah, there are some problems that are happening in our country, and there are some people that really need to see a psychologist. But unfortunately, we only see a psychologist when we are sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he'll also be answering questions on social changes. What's going on in our society? Okay, so there are lots of things going on in the society. So we, as a sociologist, we will talk about that. Okay. So, Mr. Lucala, could you make yourself known?
Thank
so
you.
That the viewers can know who you are. And let me tell you, this is the first time that we are meeting.
Yes.
We've never met. This is the first time.
Yeah.
And he is one of those, I think, dozens of those people that we have interviewed, who we only met through social media. And this is the first time that I can also hear your voice.
Yes.
I'm hearing, yes. I can hear your voice and see you in flesh and bone. Okay, well, my Keshot, you were supposed to come here, Keshot. What happened?
I think he's not coming.
Yeah, so?
Yes.
Over to you.
Well, Nicolau Lucala is my name, as already mentioned, and English teacher, English consultant, and organizational psychologist is the two things that I've been in the last 5 to 10 years, spending most of my time.
Okay.
And English is one of my passion. We had that conversation before we started.
Which was good.
Yes. That is the one way to reflect this passion is to pass this information through my family. I told you, like, my daughter is 5 and she very fluent. My second daughter as well. And so English and psychology is the two things that I spend most of my time in. So I like to read, I like to share knowledge, explore ideas and concepts. I think I grew up doing this, and it's part of my time spending.
Okay.
If I'm home, if I'm not playing with my family or my kids, I'm always like Googling something or writing something. I love to write because this is one of the things that makes me more relaxed. And something special about me is that when I'm nervous or uncomfortable, I convert that energy into creativity. I always have paper and pen in my house or an agenda or something, but I always have to have something closer to write. And when I don't have pen at the house, I'll be like a little bit stressed, and I have to find a way out to solve this. So it's just a quick presentation about me.
Okay.
And so I think we're going to have the chance to know more during the questions and
good.
And so.
My former co-worker, this is Lionel Pimentel.
Yes, I know him.
Well, I'm always, people sometimes call me attention. They say that you overlook at your laptop.
Okay.
But the thing is, the questions are on my laptop, and I'm also on my page. Yes. I have to read. There are people who send me messages saying that you have to read my comment.
Sure.
I want to hear my name, please. Dapher, say my name. They don't write it. They don't comment, but they send me messages.
Yeah.
So I have to read. For example, this is not. He didn't send me a message, but it's written there. Remember me to him, Dapher, Uncle Ben. Do you know Uncle Ben? Zola Maziku.
Well, let me see.
Zola Maziku Menga.
Yes. Most of the persons that I may not remember quickly, it's because maybe we were into environment and we had a
quick conversation.
Yeah, a quick conversation. But yeah, from the face, I do really remember him. I think it's from.
He's got a community called the community. No.
I'm forgetting.
What's the name of the community?
But I know him. I know all these guys. I think the last event.
It's on pronunciation. Come on.
The last event we had was at Rocha Pinto.
How can I remember? How can I forget this name? His community's name. It's not possible.
Is that from Cosenga, maybe?
No. He lives in Capaco.
Okay.
No, I know his community, but I can't remember it. I forgot it. Yes. So you were in Rocha Pinto.
Yeah, that was the last event
we were there. I think
it was. That I can't remember. There wasn't
it was
a lot
an
of
event.
people
I think
out there.
there were lots of people.
Yeah.
That were talking about.
And English makes you connect with the different people. And you can have the faces, but not the names.
Sure.
Yeah. But it's all fall into family relationship.
Okay. So I am an English teacher. I know that an English teacher teaches English.
Yes.
What does an English consultant do?
That's a good question. The consultancy, it's more around identify specific problems of the students and try to give a very specific solution. And I reached up to this point where I was paying attention to these 10 years of experience that I had with English.
Look, I know that you are not talking to me.
I'm talking to the camera.
You're talking to them.
I was searching the ways to find a common ground in order to solve basic problems when it comes to learning. And so this is where I come to consulting. For example, throughout this 10 years of learning, I identified that language builds itself in such a ways that you can not understand it first. For example, we all heard people saying things like, look, I can listen, or I listen very well, but I cannot speak.
Yeah.
Or whenever I try to speak, I feel like something is holding me back. So I was grabbing all that data or information, and I was relating to the time I was learning.
Okay.
And I reached up to the conclusion that there is the psychological aspect of the language that people misses, and we should start looking at this. And this is where the consultancy come from. And what I do specifically is to help people to identify what blocks them to learn English, what hold them back to speak, and why, even though they spend most of their life learning, but now they have problem explaining or talking in English. So this is where the consultancy part comes from, to help to identify the problem specifically and sort out solutions that are specific to the person in order to, grow or push this English from A to B. So that's the consultancy, put that simply.
Okay. All right. Well, I love when Branca Pinto de Andrade is on. Branca is a pre-intermediate, I think pre or upper intermediate student.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been viewing most of Answer My Questions editions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's always there. She's been, once she said that she's been learning a lot through this podcast. So hi, Branca, good to see you on the other side. Okay, I can see, who's here? Who's this? Oh yeah, Robert.
Okay.
Robert is in the other side.
Yeah.
And Keshat said that Kazenga is on. And it's true.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Although,
And I'm very proud to represent it.
Good.
Whenever I go, I always mention this aspect. And I'm coming from the capital.
the capital of English.
Yes.
Guys,
Yes.
Kazenga is the capital of English.
For
Why?
sure.
Because
For sure.
the number of English speakers and also the number of schools.
Yeah.
They say that you find English school anywhere in Kazenga. The way that you find churches in Palanca. It's like
That's a very good part of it. Yes. It's quite similar.
yes.
That's it.
Mr. Candido, good to see you back. Yes, you did view last edition. Mr. Candido is Zajek Candido. He is we call him the father of question.
Okay.
He loves asking questions.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I saw him on last event, yes.
It numbers them. Question 1. You can even ask something like 9. It goes up to 10 questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me a little bit about taco a taco.
Oh,
well,
great.
Taco a taco or taco a taco? They say no. Don't say taco a taco. Say taco a taco.
Yes, that's Portuguese.
Yes,
that's
but
Portuguese.
I'm
That's
speaking
Portuguese.
English, so I have to use English sounds. Tell me about taco a taco.
Well, this is it's a new project that I'm spending my time on. It's also an extension of learning, but at a different light.
Mm-hmm.
And the name is specific because I was exploring the everyday conversation that we have, and turns out that this expression is one of the most used expression. And when we use it, we're trying to mean that we want to go face to face to something, or we want to face something directly.
Yes.
So I grabbed this name, and I was thinking like, what could I bring with this name that I would associate with knowledge and inform people at different ways.
Yeah.
I came out with this name, and the project is specifically focused on explaining, for example, how to communicate better, how to have a good argument, because it's important, because we are looking for a job, and we are intellectual people. You want always to find out a good way to argument, because this is important to keep up the conversation. It's also going to be I'm also going to be explaining creativity, how to be creative, what blocks you to be creative, how creativity happens. I also use it to explain general knowledge. For example, social doubts, like why this happened, or why that happened, how does it made, all this kind of questions. Some sort of like filling up the curiosity of people in terms of knowledge. I know like people like more entertainment, it's a very great tendency today, but I want to do something different.
Okay.
Because I believe that as well as we have people who want to entertain, we also have people that are interested in knowledge.
Okay.
So they want to develop. And I want to fill up this space and taco is something that will be, filling this gap in terms of knowledge for those who are interested in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before we went live, you said that you would like to. Hello, Garcia Kalunga I think is viewing us from Morocco. He's a
great.
friend, and
Great.
I can also see Carlos Jive Malai viewing us from Gaza, Mozambique, one of the #1 international viewers.
Great.
Yes. Before we went live, you said that you would like to be Brazilian's competitor.
Competitor, yes.
Yes. What did you mean? Let me ask it like, what you mean when you say that I'd like to be Brazilian's competitor?
I say it in good terms, like in a positive light.
For sure, yeah.
What happened is this: when we go to Google or YouTube, we want to find a content about law, economics, geography,
psychology,
history,
which is your field.
For sure, most of the time, or most of the video we found is all related to Brazilians.
Yes.
And that's good. That means they produce information and they inform their people. And we have to remember that those videos that they do is for the world, but is mainly focused on Brazilian way of understanding and explaining things.
Mm-hmm.
So the codes of the language that they use in the video are it's self-identified the Brazilian culture. So I want to be a positive competitor in the sense that I want to explain the same thing, but using the Angolan references and language and identity. Like I told you, knowledge has face. If you always wait for someone to teach you something, you're always going to remember him. And at the last years, I've been like a little bit backwards with the idea that I have to go up to the Brazilians, up to the Americans to give me all I need in terms of knowledge. When we can produce it, we have the skills, we can use our own, references of language, because we can never exclude the aspect of a language in learning. When you listen to a Brazilian speaking, you can understand him, but there is something that misses for us because we speak a different type of Portuguese, and that reflects on the way we're going to capture. For example, the words that can really trigger the way you understand stuff. And this is where I want to go on. I want to be the one who can explain geography, history, whatever it is. And if there are people that are interested to join, with me on this, I'll be very glad to do that. Because I want a guy from university that goes on YouTube, he can find a video of a person like him explaining, science. And I think that's could be something like a basic stuff to do, instead of depending. And that's what I'm really focused on, with this project. And thank you for asking, this question.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
English.
Yeah.
Lots of people think that once they have finished their English course, they are ready to teach or to work as a translator or anything else.
Yeah.
And you said that before we went live, you said that lots of English speakers think that, I hope I'm not wrong, when they finish or when they start speaking English, they think that the world is already theirs.
Yes.
So how to guide those people who think that once they speak English, they can do whatever thing, or they are ready to work and to go after a job?
Yeah. Look, I think this concept of when you speak English and you finish your English course, you have to go and all the doors have to open for you. It comes from the illusions that English is one of the most spoken and quote unquote beautiful language. And you think that and that's what goes away to the idea that when you're speaking, you're intelligent.
Yeah.
This is something I've been defending and I've been, discussing a lot with different people. English doesn't represent or doesn't justify that you're intelligent.
Okay.
English is a language. What proves that you're intelligent is what you know.
Okay.
In terms of content, in terms of understanding, and not necessarily the language, because you can be good at mathematics, explaining in Portuguese, but if you don't know how to explain in English, that doesn't make you less intelligent.
Okay.
It just makes you less able to communicate in different languages. And so people build up a great amount of illusion when they speak English when they finish, and these things block them to look to the next step. And the question is how to guide them.
Yes.
I think what they need to understand is that as you speak English, there are a lot of people who does, or who do even better than you. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So what really makes difference is how you outstand the other people. Like you have a clear communication. You have to have a clear communication. And the second point is that you have to associate your English capacity with other skills, like computering, talking in public, for example. This is something very good. If you speak English, you have to associate with that.
Okay.
You can associate with different other courses, like you go to university and do any other course that you like and associate that with English. Because if someone want to recruit you, it's not going to look directly into your English capacity, because we speak Portuguese.
Yes.
You have to impress the person in Portuguese first. Then when he finds out that you speak English, it's going to be easier to be convinced. So if you believe that just because you speak English or you finish and every door have to open to you, you are living a little bit of a false idea, because this is not what happened in reality. You have to bring other skills all together with English, so then you're going to impress people. And that's going to open the chance to open the door. And you also have to remember that it's important to create people, like to create connection. Like we met today, we are talking, then we're going to have new ideas.
Yes.
And if you don't open yourself to know different people, you're going to live up with the idea that you are the greatest, and your English is the best, and you miss out the chance to getting better because you don't want to open. And sometimes you may not find the work through your curriculum. You can find the work through the new people that you met. And so, simply put, what I'm saying is that don't focus too much on the fact that you know how to speak or you're finished. Focus on what other skills that you bring together around your English in order to bring that with more like greatness and option. Because things doesn't happen very easy as that. I spent like 10 years, and so far I have never worked with English directly. All I do is like I make profit by creating different type of projects that help people to learn, so I can profit from that. So you can have like 10 to 15 years, but you have to be good at what you do. People have to identify that Dapher is good at what he does. And I'm going to call him because of that. Not because he speaks, but because he's different from the rest I know. So this is what I take on in terms of differences. That's my.
This is true English. Don't justify intelligence. Okay. This is a comment. All right, Daniel. Could you help me find some questions? Now, psychologist.
Yes.
Have you ever thought of being a psychologist?
That's a very good question. I don't think I have I ever thought about this. I think I'm a very introvert person. I'm very private. Everything I do, I don't like the public. I'm very, I'm not very public guy. I'm very private. So, on this privacy, most of the time I spend like reading and understanding stuff and writing all this stuff. So when I start to get in touch with psychology, was through self-understanding. Like, I was getting rage, for example, where I get stressed and nervous when something doesn't happen the way I wanted and all this stuff. So this introspection with me led me to know a little bit more about my limits and my emotion.
Oh, there's someone who wants to become like you. There's someone who wants to become like you.
I'm just thanking for this.
Gaspar Rito said that I want to become like you.
So thank you for the words. Thank you for the words. So this self-understanding led me to understand that there might have other people in the very same condition. Because let's put it in a simple way. We all know that sometimes we don't understand why we get enraged or stressed or whatever it is. And that's very uncomfortable. But we all feel it because we're human. And if you find someone that can explain you why that happened, it opens a light bulb in your head, and that's helps you to deal better on the next time. So this self-understanding helped me to read more about stress and emotions and all this stuff. And I was feeling very uncomfortable with this. And this is why I decided, no, let me just go up to psychology. Maybe I'll find more things that I have no idea, and that can be, for benefit. It never was for money. It always for self-discovery. Everything I do is for self-discovery. Then I increase, I put money on this because, at some point you have to refund all the investment you do. And so this is why, And that's what makes me become a psychologist so far. And I really like it.
Do you have an office as a psychologist where people can go and see you?
For now, I don't have it because I have to go through certain procedures. But all I do for now is giving assistance.
Okay.
How do I do it? I create a program like Psychomental is one of my projects. I have it online. I make videos explaining things like stress, depression, trauma, how can I call it, self-development. I do video of like minutes, 30 seconds explaining these things because I believe that there is always someone who want to listen to that.
Yeah.
So I don't do directly because I have to go certain procedures, as I said, but I do it in terms of assistance, not as a practical psychology because I have to follow some steps.
Yes.
But for anyone interested to having an open conversation, wants to clear the water of his mind, for example, have some doubts, why did it happen, what did it happen. Let me tell you this, through my study and this last month, I'm defending the idea that we as Angolan, we are not less capable.
Okay.
We need to organize our mind. I'm going to explain it. Mentality sometimes overestimate the capacity. I mean, our problem is not that we're not able to do that or do this or think that or think that. No, our mind is somehow organized in such ways that doesn't allow us to see what's the potential we have. And so this is the type of conversation I take to people, and I advise people to have, because you find out more about you that you didn't know, and so that's it. You can contact me through Facebook, Instagram. My numbers are open. If you want to have an open conversation, I can really help, and that's for free, by the way.
That's good.
Yes.
You can talk as much time as much time you want. You are here to talk.
That's it.
I remember a viewer mocking me, saying that Dapher is not speaking. They are killing him today.
No.
Because there's someone who talks more than him.
Yeah.
Yes, there were a viewer said that.
English gives you this.
Because actually you are here to speak.
Yeah.
People know me. I've been running presentations and I've been answering my questions since the 2nd of April.
Wow.
So they know me.
Yeah.
Yes, the 2nd of April, 2023. So you're here to speak.
Yes.
And when I try to interrupt the guest, they say, let the guest speak.
Okay.
So you're here to speak. Yes, I don't have to.
That's it.
Yeah, to speak a lot.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm really talkative. Yeah. The conversation is hot. No words to express.
Yeah.
Wonderful and amazing conversation. The conversation is hot. No word to express. This is Quintino, Wiseman, Shine Moon viewing us from Benguela.
Great.
And Branca Pinto de Andrade. I think I'm a pre-intermediate student.
Yeah.
I like your explanation to improve English language. You speak very well, or you speak clearly. So Branca is a pre-intermediate student. George, my dreams is to speak English fluently. This program helps me so much. Thank you, teacher, for it. This is again Branca. And nice conversation from Wish Buta. This is João Alberto. Hey, Noi Green, good to see you on the other side. And wonderful. George Mazanza viewing us from
Lisbon. That's my
Portugal.
godfather.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's viewing us from Portugal.
Yeah, for sure. He texted me to
saying that he's going to view us.
Yes.
He's going to view this edition.
Sure.
Oh,
I think it's logged on now.
That's good.
Yes.
Joe Jaime Sambig. Hello everyone. Good to see you on the other side. Yes. So viewers love when we read the comments.
Yes.
Yes.
That gives them a sense of existence. For
yes,
sure,
and they feel. I think Mr. Candido once advised me to be doing this, to be reading the comments. Because when you read the comments, they feel, the viewers feel that you are worried about them. You know that they are there. And actually we are here because of them. Both of us, you and I. Yes, Daniel, we are here because of the viewers.
And that's also gives give them a sense of official viewers. When I log on any Dapher moment, answer my question, I'll always be mentioned. And that's giving a sense of belonging, and that's clients, they like it. But by the way, they're clients, even though they're just viewers, but they may be willing to buy any other product that you launch because you do a great job. That's it.
John Botelho, let me talk to you. You owe me one. When are you coming to answer my questions, man?
This John Botelho is
yes.
No words to describe this guy.
Let me tell you.
One of the greatest.
When I invite people and they say, I'm thinking, I'll let you know, and they don't tell me anything, I cross them.
Now
but I don't want to cross you.
He's a very close friend, and we share a lot of good ideas. And it's one of those guys that are open to ideas. He's one of those guys that doesn't mind what makes you good. All he's worried about is that how can we go together and bring something new. That's good. That's what I really like in this guy.
I hope to have him. I hope to have him.
Now I'm going to convince him. By the way, I'll give you my word.
Actually, you can. The thing is availability.
Okay.
Remember,
time, right?
Yes. When we first chatted was on the first of December when Benny Neto was here. Are you friends?
Who?
Do you know Benny Neto?
I know him, yes.
The only American lost in Angola.
yes. We met.
That was the first time that we chatted.
It's almost a month.
No, 2 months.
Sure.
Almost 2 months. Almost 2 months. So could you find John Botelho's question? No, comment. Is that a comment? Ask him about Metodo TIS.
Okay.
What is this? Metodo.
I think
is that Metodo TIS?
Yes.
That TIS? Could you find that comment, please? We need it.
Yes.
And this is Charles Totosi. Charles Totosi is viewing us from Mozambique.
Great.
Great. Oh, Charles Totosi, who's viewing us from Mozambique, said, if you read our comments, that makes us feel part of your program.
Right.
Yes. And this is Luamba Cristovo usually says, I belong to the team of I am on. Because there are a group of viewers, they will come to say I am on. When they say Luamba Cristovo is on the other side. Hi Luamba, good to see you once again. After 10 minutes or 5 minutes, Luamba, are you still there? He's no longer there because there's no more. The data has finished. You see. So he says, hoje do time I am on está ativo.
He just created a group inside a group. That's very creative. That's good.
I'm on from Gabela City.
Great.
It says Gabela London. Gabela London. This is Benjamin Fernando.
You might have a lot of good guys too.
For sure. I'm on from Gabela London. Gabela City.
Great.
It's raining here.
Great.
Cheers for you both. Thank you. Yes, could you read that?
Okay, there is the question from John Botelho is, how was your experience at TIS method? Lecturing business in English.
Do you remember that? Good question. Yes, we were.
What it meant, right?
I know it. Yes, we had a time together at this English for business together, and it was a great experience because for the first time I had the chance to be at the very loyal public when it comes to English, and it was something very organized, and we had the opportunity to know a lot of different people, and we shared some good experience, and this is one of the very well developed English hub. This is what I can call it.
Okay.
Method is his company, and he's an English trainer out there, and he does a very good job. And this day was one of the greatest. It was for free, but we had a lot of people coming, and it was great. People were asking for more, and so I think for now we're still joining the idea of how we're going to have the second edition. And he actually conducted a lot of different training with a lot of different topics because this is his job.
Okay.
And so that day was amazing. And whenever there is a moment or an event at the Method Teach, I advise people to connect and go there because it's a unique experience when it comes to knowledge. And
so
it's something I
that's
recommend.
Method Teach.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can Google like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. They're all there, and yes, they deliver a very good quality in terms of English.
Oh, okay.
And John is the reference of this.
This
Yeah, that's good.
TIS method, a company forward. Could you come?
Yes.
Deep with this TIS method?
Is it TIS or
Is
TIS?
Tease. He's just spelling.
How does he pronounce it?
Tease.
How does the
Teach.
owner pronounce
Portuguese. It's teach.
Yes.
it? Oh, TIS.
Yeah.
Okay, because we can say TIS.
Okay.
Yes, TIS.
Okay.
But the owner says no, it's not TIS because like
It's tease. You have to
you see that
read
it's-
uniquely. It's not English. I think it's the abbreviation of the company.
Oh, okay.
And maybe other meanings behind it, but the company is Tishtech.
Oh, okay.
And so they associated, they created an academy that they bring different forms, different type of training, like
Okay.
English, communication,
Yeah.
business. So there are different sets of people with different skills.
You see that we
Yeah.
advertise lots
Yeah.
of people's
Yeah.
business here.
That's for sure. He made me the question, and I'm just trying to answer. So it's a company
Yeah.
focused on training people at the different level and skills. And there are different type of training from English to business to communication to whatever. There is a great list of training out there, and so
That's good.
That's it.
Yes, like you said, TIS.
Yeah.
And my company is called Sanked Training.
Okay.
But some people say Sankt.
I was reading
because
just
of
like
the
that.
ED.
Okay.
Sankt.
Okay.
Yeah, but you see, actually, it's not Sankt.
Okay.
It's Sanked.
Okay.
Because that's Santos and Casey and
Okay.
David.
And that's English, so they
Yeah,
they have a false association. That's what
there
we
was
call it.
Sankt.
Yeah.
Okay, many of us discovered the importance and breathe.
Yeah.
No, breath. Many of us discovered the importance and breadth of the English language late. So I wanted to know
Yeah.
what our guest has done to help the younger generation wake up or get to know the English language sooner.
Okay.
This is
Uh-huh.
the former colleague, Lionel
Yes.
Pimentel.
Great. The question is, what
Yeah,
I
what have
right?
you
Yeah.
been doing so as to help young people? I know that you said that your daughter,
Yes, I
your
was
children
studying,
can
yes.
already speak English,
For sure.
which is different from me.
Yeah.
Yes, or different from mine because
Yeah.
my children, my first daughter,
Mm-hmm.
should I say can't utter a single word in English? She only know my name is and I am. Yeah, she can't speak English.
Yes.
Yeah. And people have been cursing me.
Why happening?
Yeah. Well, I said no. I learned English to make money, not to teach people for free.
That's a very good argument. That's a very good
Yeah, I
argument.
said no. I will pay.
Yeah.
I will enroll.
For
You
sure.
know, next year because she went to school. She started learning English when she was 12.
Yeah.
But I think it was difficult for her. She said,
Yeah.
"Daddy, I don't want you to, you know,
Spend more money.
to spend your money like that. So please, I'm going to stop going to that school.
Okay.
I'll only resume the English course when I am 15."
Well.
Yeah, I said, "Well,
That's
she
great.
was 12. Okay,
That's great.
so different from you,
Uh-huh.
your children." Neril song. I will read your question. Yes, I will read that because
Okay.
yeah, some viewers when they ask question,
Yeah.
when they ask a question and don't read that, they ask
got-
why are you not reading my
Yes.
question? Yes, yeah. So
Answering the
what have you
question-
been doing so
Okay.
as to wake up new generations' mind?
Great. Just like you mentioned, I start with my daughters. Then they're my first project in this case. But let me rephrase something. What help me to teach my daughters is psychology,
Okay.
and not necessarily English directly, because first I had to dive into psychology of learning for kids, because I was studying at the time. It was like 2019.
Yeah.
I was very involved in this psychology of learning. And then when my wife got pregnant, I was start thinking into how about put in practice what I've learned.
Okay.
So I was start playing music while she was in her mother's womb, playing like baby music, English music, because I like English music, and I was playing it very often. And there was something very interesting I was seeing, that whenever I was playing a unique music for her, she was just reacting just like the baby does, you know, very often. And I took that moment and extended when she was born, and I kept doing that, you know, from time to time, paying attention to her needs, exploring her emotions, and putting English into it.
Oh,
as I'm very,
it's knocking the door.
As I'm very, I like to be at home very often, so I take this time to explore their ability to learn. So this is what I actually do. And going to the people outside, what I do in order to help people learn or to open their mind is to, whenever I have the opportunity to talk with someone, whenever English, even if it's a beginner, even it's 2 months or 3 months or 6 months in the course, I gave my 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours to have a conversation and share experience. And whoever is watching the video today, he knows that I do not hold back conversation.
Okay.
So this is what I do in order to help. And sometimes I give assistance for free, even though I'm a consultant. But there are people that come and say, look, I want to really get into the next level, and help them to do that, or do that without even charge them. So this is one way I have to help the people move to the next level, but just like, you know, offer my time and my experience and expertise to help them move from A to B. That's
good. Are you a licensed psychologist?
Not yet, because I am finishing I think it's missing 3 months to finish the university.
Okay. You haven't
yes,
finished it?
Yes.
You're still...
I'm still finishing, but there's something I learned. When it comes to science, what do you want to do? Exercise your knowledge before you reach up to the line, because when you reach the line, you're going to have a different way of thinking. So if you bring a whole bunch of experience throughout the way, when you reach to into the line, you're going to be ready to to move forward and creating your projects and actually do your things. This is what I.
Good.
This is what I believe.
Good. Yeah. One thing that that my viewers love is to see people speak English like you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very thanks. Yes.
They say they love when someone who sounds GA, who uses GA, General American, they love it.
Okay.
Yeah. When I invite people like Daniel,
the British.
They say, well, inviting your friends.
No, but also, I think we also have to talk about this a little bit if you...
Good. No.
Yeah, because
you cannot say if you don't mind. The only thing which I mind is, like, if you say, I'm an English teacher, if you are looking for an English teacher, I am here, I'm available to teach at my company.
You don't like this advertising.
What about me?
Yes.
I'm also an English teacher.
For sure,
I'm looking for students.
For students. And I'm very sure... that
it's okay.
We're going to have some good ideas after this.
It's okay.
I'm promising on the live because I know what I have in mind, and we're going to share it later.
No, it's okay.
So, talking about this aspect of general English and the British and all that stuff, I think that has been a necessary fight.
Yeah.
I call it fight because sometimes I've seen messages asking questions like, what is the best English to speak?
The best variety.
And this is one of the greatest conversations I had with a friend of mine, João Barroso. There's a guy from Zaire with working on...
I think that's the capital of American English, no?
That's...
Zaire.
No, Kazenga is.
No, Kazenga is the capital of English.
Okay.
But American
English.
Kazenga? Kesha.
Oh, that's a very big discussion.
Cabinda and Zaire. Mainly Soyo.
Okay.
Because in Cabinda, I think Cabinda and Soyo, everybody there, I think, is learning English to work for an oil company. Different from us. Okay.
Going to what we're saying, like there has been a necessary fight.
Yeah.
Because when we divide English into two parts, like general English and British English, well, we have to look at the culture.
Okay.
This is a very important aspect that people miss. Like, the division doesn't happen just because both countries decided to go apart. No, because history and culture drove them apart.
Yeah.
So instead of discussing what is the best, I think you should find what is most comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Because there is no way each one of the country will open his hands to learn from each other, because it's cultural things, it's not just language. Language is a small aspect of a culture. You know, I mean, a culture is bigger than language, and people have to understand it. So instead of going fighting what the best and what we should do or not, we should focus on what is the most comfortable way of speaking for you, because we're always going to understand each other whenever or whatever the one you pick. So I think we should all move away from this fight, because we cannot go through this, because both ways you can communicate, and we should just like work on together instead of going separate.
I say competitor, you say? I say competitor, you
competitor.
say?
Yeah.
I say better, you say?
Better.
I say far, you say?
Far. Yes.
English.
And also have
I say water, you say?
Water. Yes.
Yeah, they say. Well, is it true that the English which is spoken in Angola is different from the US?
Again, I'll go to the cultural aspect. I don't think it's different.
Yeah.
But there are a few dimensions that differentiate because of the aspect of living.
Yeah.
Look, as much as you study English here, there are aspects of a culture that you're going to miss, because you have to live there to learn how they press, how they compress it, how they extend the language. And if you do not know it, that doesn't mean your English is not accurate or correct.
Good.
It's aspect of a culture that you miss because you don't live there. This is why when people learn English here and they go outside and they come with different idea, and they think that they used to say like, oh, my English now is better than I was in Angola. No, you learn different aspects of a culture that change your perspective.
Yeah.
And this is why you think it's different. It's not better, it's different.
I asked you this question because I saw
Yeah.
a video.
Yes.
He's also a teacher. He's currently in the US, and he said that the English which is spoken in the US is completely different from the one we speak here. He said,
Sure.
Really?
But look,
What does it mean in terms of completely different?
He has to explain the differences if it's...
In terms of what?
That's it.
Pronunciation?
That's it.
What? But in terms of what? Like, you don't speak any local language, do you?
Kimo not very well, but we can go. There isn't a great example for this. People misunderstand a lot. If we take English aside and put Portuguese, the concept is the same.
Yeah.
For example, the Portuguese we speak here in Angola is different from Portuguese that people speak in Portugal. So what is the line of references that you're going to bring both together? You can compare both, because there are cultural aspects involved in both types that you cannot cross together. You cannot cross them. You have not just to look them separately. So when he says it's completely different, he has to understand this.
Elaborate more
on this.
On what's meant.
For sure. Yeah. Because language grew every day. There is a expression that grew up because of tendency or economic development or technological development. And we don't need to know that, because they develop this tendency and they're going to find the word to name it. So we're going to watch it and receive it. And so you cannot compare both, because there's two different aspects in terms of culture, and they cannot cross in terms of superiority or like which one is the best. I think it's a very incomplete statement. It's necessary to be more elaborated for better.
I speak Congo.
Yes.
My variety, now we say wow.
Oh.
But the variety from Kimbele is wabu.
You see? Which one is correct? Which one is correct? None of them. So the greatest discussion of a language that goes always into wrong direction is when you discuss about what is the best. This is the wrong question.
Yeah.
This is a wrong. People have to understand language. You can never discuss about what is right, what is wrong.
Yeah.
Because language evolves along with the culture. If you want to compare two languages, you have to compare the culture as well. So you cannot let it away, because culture or language is an extension of a culture. So I think the question of what is the best is the wrongest question I've ever heard.
And
it's
for me
very
to say,
unnecessary.
Our children will say anaetu.
Yes.
My variety, anaetu. And Kimbele's variety is banabetu.
Oh, you see? But you see, the sound is closest. But if you, but they differentiate because they also differentiate geographically.
Yes.
If you see that some maybe more on the north, other maybe on the south, And this difference in geographic affects the way they see language.
Good.
And we cannot discuss that unless we discuss other aspect of culture and the way of being. So that's very necessary. But I understand why sometimes we discuss it in English, because there is some prestige in English that we all want to have.
Yeah.
And the prestige sometimes drives us to have a wrong conversation. And that doesn't help. This affects when people go like in an interview, for example, job interview. They want to impress because they think that when you speak English, like in reality, is like in a movie. Movie is something different from reality. And sometimes they miss the opportunity because they want to impress instead of communicate. And they go be like, oh, I thought I would be great. They will call me, I was the greatest. No, you like the way you were spoke, but he didn't understand it. So you have to see communication crossing the other person, not what do you like. And the movies are one of the great influence.
Okay.
Because most of the movie are made into into general English, like which is American, and we understand if you speak like America, then you are the best. This is also wrong. Okay. Because if you go in the United States, I never went there, but you see from the Google books, people from different regions speak different language. Let's take Angola apart. Let's bring a person from New York, a person from California. Who's the best? So if you cannot have this conversation inside the United States, you cannot have this conversation outside the United States. So it's unbearable. It's unnecessary to see from logic. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, good to see a psychologist there, which is my area of study.
Sure.
This is Bem-vindo Farage, viewing us from Centralidade Capire in Bengo.
Bengo, yes.
Okay.
I have a friends who they live there.
Oh, all right.
Those persons, Moises and Edmilson is one of the guys who introduced me to the language. Because I remember like 2010 or 8, but we're friends for a long time. We almost grew up together. They were the guys that introduced me, like computer and all the stuff, books, because they already had these things back then. And I was taking, chances in reading their books, touching their computer. And he was the one who offered me the first dictionary.
Wow.
Dictionary, like universal. It's a small dictionary, and I took that throughout my life. I almost knew the words on that dictionary.
Wow.
Yes, and so those are the guys that introduced me into this, and I think I owe them so much respect because of what they
did. Although you're a psychologist, have you ever sat down with a psychologist? A psychologist looking for a psychologist?
Well, this question crosses into other areas. For example, a doctor will also look to a doctor. So that's a very normal pattern. I think what people need to understand, but answering your question, yes, also go for a conversation with other people that knows the science. Because look, there's a misunderstanding when it comes to psychology. Just because you know psychology, that doesn't mean that you can cure all your problems. Because what affects your mind is distant from what you know. I mean, knowing and feeling is two different things. Sometimes the problem is so big in your head that you cannot figure it out the ways, because you are natural human being. So what happens? You have to look after people who knows, not because that doesn't mean you don't know, but at the moment your emotions are blurring your logic and your reasoning. So you have to go someone to clear yourself up, and that's completely normal.
Okay.
No stereotypes. Yes.
When should you look for a psychologist?
Great question. That's a great question. Whenever you feel that something is bothering you more than 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. I put it in the time because it's important that if something takes you 24 hours in your mind and you don't pay attention to this, that means it's going to keep up for the next 2 hours, or for the next 2 days, and the next 2 weeks, and the next month. So this is where things start getting confused for you. So if you feel like something is taking your mind more than 24 hours and you cannot figure out what is this, you can actually go and look for psychologist.
I'm really happy today because for the first time in my whole life, I can understand an English speaker who uses the American variety in Angola. Cash out. For the first time, Luamba Cristóvão said that he can understand an American English speaker, an Angolan who uses GA for the first time. I think he did view your edition.
Oh. No, he needs to see.
Yeah.
He needs to, I saw it.
Oh, that's good.
I saw it. I remember.
Sustainable, right?
But for sure. Yes, we come from the same place.
Yeah.
So going up to the psychology, searching, I think there's a lot of stereotype over psychology, and we understand it because of a culture issue. For example, our culture allow us to be more closed with our feelings, and that's completely normal. No judgmental for that. This is a cultural issue. We cannot fight for it. But as we start to receiving other influence, like from different culture, technology, and all this stuff, we're going to have to look at this psychological issue with the different eyes. Because look, we're spending most of our time in social media, for example, and that affects the way we think and the way we see things. And maybe that's going to be corrupting us for our rules for our aspect of our culture, like be more closed. We're going to be more open. And so due to this influence, we have to learn to understand that talking to a psychologist is not something from the other world.
Okay.
Talking to a psychologist is like talking to a friend when you feel like comfortable. And the psychologist is not going to tell you that you're crazy or something's going wrong. No. All it's going to tell you is this: look, this thing is bothering you more than 24 hours because you're not paying attention to this and that.
Okay.
And you should be paying attention to this and that, and these things will go away. Because sometimes it's not a big problem. We just need to pay attention. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you have a job interview from here a week. You've been home for almost 1 year without a job.
Yeah.
In your first interview, you have a lot of pressure on you. You'll be like, is it going to be right? Am I going to be hired? So this question may blur your thinking, and you'll be like, something's going out of control. So what are you going to do? Talk to a person who can clear your air and say, look, this pressure that you're having is because you are 2 years unemployed. And your first job interview, you are worried if you're going to do great. So instead of being worried with this, you should be focused on this, this, and that. Okay. And if you don't pay attention, this worry, you're going to transfer in everything you do, like talk to your wife or your kids, your parents. Relatives. You're going to be like, you're stressed. You feel like something is on your mind and you don't know what is this. And you don't have any idea that it's related with the interview that you have 1 week from here. And psychology is going to help you to understand that. And be like, your main preoccupation is this. What has happened is this, and have to be focused on here. And just that's it. Okay. And after it is your commitment. Psychology is not going to change something out of you. That's it.
Is it advisable to look for a psychologist before a job interview?
Depending on how you deal with your emotions and yourself,
yes,
it's advisable. Because what psychology does is just organize the things. Because sometimes we put in such an order that make us confused. For example, let's take psychologists. Let's put a friend. Let's say you have a job interview from here a week. You'll be very focused on what you're going to say, and you forget what you're going to address. You see? How you're going to present yourself. If you have money to catch the tax, for example. If you organize your documents. So instead of being, as you're worried with what you're going to say, your friend's going to tell you, look, why not being worried about what you're going to dress, for example? Try to find some comfortable clothes, for example. Trying to organize your ID. Try to know the location. Instead of trying to look for it on the right day. So psychologist is a kind of person, it's just a person like that who tells you, look, organize the things in this order. Instead of going to this way, organize in this way so you can find the solution more quickly. So there have to be no stereotype in psychology because it's all about organization and nothing more than cure like being crazy and it's far from this.
Okay. Should I share thoughts and feelings that make me uncomfortable? What should we share?
And that's where the problem starts.
Okay.
If something makes you uncomfortable, this is why you should share.
All right.
Because your mind reacts over electrical impulses and the chemical impulses. So if you're uncomfortable with something and you don't share it, what is going to happen is that it's going to growing big in your system. And what happens, you're going to start mixing things. If the uncomfortable come from something that you didn't like, you're going to transcend it in every other area of your life without knowing it. So it's comfortable to share when you're uncomfortable. Because that's release tension, that's release stress and have you more oriented toward the problem you want to solve. So as long as you feel open,
yes.
you can actually, open to your feelings, and that's a form of relief and peace sometimes.
Okay,
for sure.
Before let's look at. It's not hot, is it?
No. It's
I said before we look at social changes or mental health.
Yeah.
You are an English consultant.
Yeah.
What are your specific or your target areas?
The question.
Because there are business English,
Yeah.
business English. I'm a business English consultant.
Great.
I can also be an English language teaching consultant.
Great.
For example,
Great.
where I will be talking to people who are willing to become a teacher.
Sure.
What about you?
But
What's
my
your
consultancy
area?
is especially focused on fluency recovery.
Okay, fluency.
Fluency recovery. Like I was explaining in the beginning, mid-language is the project I use to help people recover fluency. Why did I focus on this area? Because there are a lot of people somehow confused. They come to me and say, look, I speak English for more than 2 years or 3 years, but I feel like my English is losing consistency. I can understand clearly, but I have a problem talking. Or I have a job interview and it will be in English and I'm not very confident.
Yes.
Or I start working now and English is required, but I'm not very confident to talk to my boss. So all this, information, there is something in common. Most of them, they do not have a problem with English. They have problem with their emotional language. I'm going to explain it. If you speak English more than 2 years, and for some reason you stop talking, language didn't disappear in your mind.
Okay.
That's a fact. We can prove it all that. That's why you understand it, but you can speak it. So if it's on your mind, but you can communicate, that means you need some stimuli to bring language into the vocal. So with psychology, I help people to reach their language at the level that is and bring that to the communication. So I help them to understand that maybe you don't need to start English directly. You have to watch into your fear. You're uncomfortable. Why you feel uncomfortable, for example, why you feel like worried to spell or to say a word. So I help you to understand what is triggering you or what is influencing you to not say at the right time, to not focus on conversation and focus on your mistakes. So I work the aspect of emotions in the language, and then I bring them to learn English again. But I don't do it with the traditional methods like verb to be and all this stuff. I don't do it. What I do is this. I bring them into a variety of information in English, and then we discuss that.
Okay.
For example, if you are a salesman, I'm going to bring you most of the content related to sales field. We're going to discuss that. It's an open conversation. What's going to happen? If you can't speak in Portuguese, that means you're going to find out a way to speak in English. Okay. And what you're going to do is recovery. So this is why it's fluency recovery, because I help people to go down where the English is laid and bring them back to life with all that exercise.
Okay. Yeah. Where can people find you?
Well, through my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. I have very often posted my flyers. They can contact whenever they need. And also I do
on Facebook. It's
Nicolau Lucala. Yeah. And the consultancy sometimes may not take a month. For example, if you want to enter to a course because you want to recover your English, you can be with me a week having a conversation, not English, conversation, help you to understand how language operates in the mind.
That's your business, no? English partner.
Yeah.
Huh?
You see?
An English partner. What's that?
Yeah.
Yours is English speaking partner.
Yeah. What blocks you? What blocks you to speak? Because if you speak once, your English is in your mind. We just need to find the right neurons to spark it and bring it back to life. So I can have an open conversation. For example, how do you say English? What's your aspiration?
Yes.
How you visualize yourself speaking? What is the greatest problem? I can go into Portuguese. What do you like to read? Where do you spend most of your time? So this question will help me to bring a sequence of idea and suggesting you, look, you have to focus on this. Let me tell you this. Some people don't understand that we have different types of learning.
Okay.
Some people learn by writing, some by reading, and some by speaking. What happens in traditional school when you go, they give you the general methods. And some people may say, look, I'm in a course more than 2 months, but I'm not learning.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm going to help you. I'm telling, look, maybe your ability is writing. Everything you listen, you have to write because your memory consolidates information by writing. And if you don't do it, everything that comes in your mind evaporates very quickly.
Yeah.
So by writing, you freeze it on your memory and you can remember very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not just English, this is psychology of learning. So this is how I, and believe me, there is a lot of people, they find themselves be like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, all this time I went to a course, but I didn't know that. Because maybe what is missing a good conversation, not English. When you go to a class, you're going to go with your mind open and everything will come out more quickly.
Okay. That's
Yes.
good. Daniel,
For sure.
could you pick up some questions? Because I still have lots of them.
I think
Comments and questions.
there is a question from Nelson Joel. I don't
Yeah.
know whether it was
Yes.
answered.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says,
How dark is it?
how do you define
Keshet, how dark is it?
language nowadays?
Nowadays.
How do you define
the video.
language nowadays?
It's okay?
Apart from this,
Okay.
question, come up with some
Yeah.
comment,
Yeah.
which is the following. As we can see and hear that many English teachers have some difficulties at teaching.
Yeah.
What kind of process can we do or follow to improve it?
Okay. Okay. So what was the first question, please?
The first question is, how do you define English language nowadays?
Well, this is a very general question. It's hard to answer because it's very open. I would like to know in terms of what, like if it's consistency, number of people, quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but let me try go into details. Well, the growing number of people interested to speak English is mounting every time.
Yeah.
I think and there is a lot of people interested to learn, and I think giving an open view of the state, I don't know if I can do it because I would like to have more information. But based on people I know, I think it's in a good stage because people are realizing that, language or English give you a little bit more of, open doors and opportunity and all that. And people like it because we watch movies and all this kind of thing creates a fantasy over English being the best language. I think it's okay. It's in a good stage. Now going to the methods. And this is something I was thinking when I was coming here. I wrote it on my phone. The best way to teach English, from my understanding, is to transform your experience into a program.
Okay.
Instead of going to a general methods, understand your process or the course you took and pick up the important details and bring the program over it. I'm explaining why it is important. Because there is always someone needing the very same thing you did. And learning is that I have to see something on you that I miss, or I have to see something in you that I don't have.
Okay.
And instead of going general, understand how you got into English, then create a program, and there is always a lot of people who will be interested.
All right.
Because if you solve a specific problem in English, there is a great chance that people are going to follow you instead of going general. For example, what he does, business partner, for example, is a very specific way of teaching. People are going to like it because I'm going to give you another example. Mid-language is very private. My project is very private. It's one student's only, not two students. Why I did this? Because people sometimes want prestige. And let's imagine you're working with a guy that have a good position in the company. He doesn't want to expose that he's learning. So you save this aspect and give him privacy. And he's ready to keep because you are saving his reputation. Not because it's bad, but it's people like privacy and you bring this aspect. So this is a very good way to solve another problem. So to solve this aspect of a good program and teaching, it's important to look to your experience instead of going general. Look what was good to you and bring it as a program. There is always someone going to look at the program and see, look, this is me, or this is what I was looking for. And that's going to solve the problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Someday this says,
Yeah.
are some many speakers combining American and British
Yeah.
English? I think it meant accent. So, what is your view about this? Is it correct combining both accents?
I think we just spoke about this, but I'll go again. I think it's a wrong question and it's a wrong discussion because we always going to understand each other because language is bigger, is the smallest part of a culture. So if you compare British and American English, you also have to compare the culture of both countries. So if you don't want to go through the culture, you cannot spend time comparing the accent to what is bad and what is not, because they're just an extension of something bigger than we can imagine. I think it's a wrong discussion and a wrong conversation. Okay. But we always have to find what is comfortable to us without clashing with each other what actually is the best.
Your project is not taco, it's taco.
Yes.
Yeah, but it comes from Portuguese.
Portuguese. Yeah. The most spoken sentence we see on the news.
You write it with K.
Yeah.
K and U.
Yeah.
C-O.
Sure.
So taco, ataco, not taco, ataco.
Yes.
Like Portuguese.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How huge are you? There's a comment here. How huge are you? There's someone who knows you and said you are huge. How huge are you?
Oh, I don't understand. Like physically? Is that...
I don't know. He said, let me see.
I don't.
No, he said, what is it? Okay. Hi, Dapher. My cheers to Nicolau Lucala. Huge.
I don't understand it.
I think he meant, did he mean maybe hugs? Probably.
Well,
probably. Maybe hug. Yes, F chirp. Maybe.
But this is a very hard question.
Who is viewing us? Daniel, Crybaby.
Yeah.
Crybaby is on the other side. Crybaby is a rapper.
Oh.
Hi, Crybaby. Good to see you on the other side.
That's great.
Yeah, he was interviewed here. He
also,
sang. A rapper. Yes. A rapper or a trapper? A trapper? Not a rapper?
And I think he have to clear up the question because I didn't understand.
No. It's not the question. I am the one who wants to know because he wrote huge.
Yeah.
And I want to know how huge you are. Maybe it's someone that knows you, probably. He might know you. Or maybe he meant hugs.
I don't think
probably,
I have. Yeah. The answer for this is...
I think it was like in terms of
probably
grade.
Yeah.
Grade, maybe?
Probably.
It's huge.
Probably.
Okay. As he's organized, I have something in mind going up to this British and American English question.
Go ahead.
We have to, there's something a lot of people do when they're learning English, the fantasy. Fantasy is something that happens in everything we like. Fantasy happens in the stage of we explore our imagination at the deep level where we imagine ourselves doing something. Like, have you never seen videos of a guy speaking general English with like a rapper, the famous?
Yeah.
I think a month ago, someone shared with me a video of guys, speaking, and I sent him a message and said, "Look, the guy is good, but he's fantasizing."
Okay.
What I mean by fantasizing is that whatever even if you're learning British English or American English, there have to be a point that you have to be natural.
Yes.
And by fantasizing, I mean you have a lot of people in your head molding your communication. Doesn't sound very natural and accurate because people will notice that. Mm-hmm. So what you have to do, you have to reach a certain level that you follow Barack, for example, or let's say Trevor Noah, you listen to them, but you have to be a point, you have to bring your own way of communicating.
Your own identity.
Identity, that's the word. Instead of focusing on them, because people will notice that you're trying to bring in a very original copy, and that doesn't give you a lot of confidence. So fantasize is important in the beginning.
Yeah.
When you reach a certain level, you have to drop yourself from this person and ask yourself a question: how do I want to sound?
Yes.
And that's very important.
In science, this is called neutral accent.
For sure.
And if you read Better Pronunciation by O'Connor, it says that if you want to improve, let me try to paraphrase it. If you want to improve your English, you need to find a role model.
Yes.
So you start imitating this person. At the beginning, you will be sounding almost like him. But what you've just said, when you reach at a certain level, you have to be yourself. And you will only be or become yourself when you start sounding natural. And when you start sounding natural, that that will be like neutral accent.
Neutral accent.
Nobody knows when you speak. They no. This is I feel Cashot speaking.
Okay.
I feel Nicolau speaking.
Yes.
So
yeah,
you are
they can
neutral.
catch a
Yeah,
person
they
on your
cannot.
communication.
They,
yes.
they don't know where to place you.
For sure.
Because you are sounding natural.
Yeah.
Now, when you sound like a robot, what you say?
Yes.
So they feel no. He is not being original.
Yes.
He's not authentic.
Like
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And that's take credibility.
Mm.
And if you want to grow up professionally, that's the wrong way to go. That's the wrong way, because just because you like music, or you like the famous, that doesn't mean that's going to help you professionally. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
You know?
And
that's
our
it.
brothers. This is our brothers. It's an American author. He wrote a book on acts or asks. He said that our brothers are losing a lot of job opportunities because of not knowing the place where they have to use the English they use at home.
For sure.
See,
And that's called language competence.
yeah.
I think
They are
that's the
not
word.
saying that you don't have to speak the English that you speak at home,
Yeah,
but you have to know the setting.
for sure.
Where am I going to use this vocab? Can I speak like this with my colleague?
Colleagues. Yeah.
Can I say, hey man?
Yeah.
You calling your boss, hey man?
Sure.
Hey
That's
man?
it.
Hey pal? Man, we are not friends. We are not made for you to say, hey
sure.
mate.
That's why I advise people, you have to expose yourself to different range of communication.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch movie and you listen to people interview,
Yeah.
you please go pick up a book about any field necessary and read it. Because by reading, you're going to increase details on your communication. Because if you read a book from finance or technology or history, you're going to acquire the application of certain vocabulary
Yes.
for that matter, and that's going to reflect the way you speak. And that's how you increase quality and good performance when it comes to English. Don't just focus on interview and music. Read books are important.
Okay.
That's a very good way to bring more quality into what you do.
Everyone has something to offer.
Yeah.
But the question is, do you know where the relevance is?
Okay.
What did you want to tell us?
Great. What I wanted to pass with this quote.
Remember that.
Uh-huh.
Remember that network starts when two people
Okay.
have something
To offer.
something to offer.
Oh,
yes.
Great. I wrote this quote after I had a conversation with a colleague,
Okay.
a friend of mine.
It was this year.
Yes, this year.
January. Yeah.
What I wanted to pass with this quote is that nowadays we talk too much about networking.
Okay.
Networking that, networking this, networking that.
Yeah.
And this sounds very beautiful,
Mhm.
but there is something on this conversation that some people miss. Network happens when you have something to offer by saying, if you speak good English, like you, Dapher, me, and Mr. Daniel, someone will try to connect with you because he likes something from you. Network doesn't happen because you look beautiful. No, it happens because you have something to offer. Like, well, Dapher is going to teach my kids learn English, and then by return, I'm going to work him in another business. I'm going to join with him to create a business. So I have something to take from Dapher, and Dapher has something to take from me. And so this is what I was trying to pass, because there is a great illusion over networking, and you forget to create your own skills, and you believe that just because you want to connect with me, everything is going to happen. This is not what happens. I mean, networking, in other words, is shared interest.
Okay.
And people have to understand, if you go to a meeting, a conference, everyone out there expects that everyone has something to offer.
Yes.
Unless you're going to go out there and say, look, I want to be your friend. This is not how you start. You start by asking some question, about the person. You listen what he does and how good he is. Then you share your perspective about it. He's going to see, this guy speaks very well. Even if a mere communication is good, it's a good aspect. Yes.
Yeah.
It's something to offer. But you cannot believe just because networking is a new trend, everything is going to happen just because you believe in that, instead of working your skills. So this is what I was trying to to pass.
That's
That's
good.
it.
What does an organizational psychologist do?
Great. This is a science developed with a sense of seeing people from the way, from the place they work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, but we're still human beings. At home, at work, whenever we go, we're still human beings. So, but organizational psychology focuses on how to see the aspect of humanity of a person into the work and how to use that in order to bring advantage and solve problem and create solution and create a very good work environment in order to bring quality and production. So the main focus of organizational psychology is understanding people and bring them into the best way of working and increase productivity and guarantee that things work at the human level. So that's mostly the center of organizational psychology. And then we can work with human resource, for example. We can work with an institution and department of people management, for example. We can work with training, recruitment, and everything that involves humans that bring them from point A to B in terms of development and working quality. So that's how, in our organizational psychology works on.
Good.
Yeah.
There are 29 people viewing us.
Okay.
There being 39.
Yeah.
For us, it's a very good number because that's the average.
Okay.
30, 40, up to
Sure.
25, 20, 18.
Great.
So it's good. So people are here for you to learn a lot from you.
Okay. It's always a pleasure
And that's good.
to share knowledge.
Albert said that. No, Albert. No, what did he say? Okay. Should I? What? Daniel, help me. Why I'm looking for the right question?
Yes.
How long should I stay with the same psychologist?
Wow, that's a good question. And this is one of the hardest things because most of the time, patients start to feel more comfortable with their psychologist, and they don't want to break the bond.
Yeah.
Because it makes them feel comfortable, and it takes very long. But it depends on the feedback that the person shared with psychology and how psychology see the development of a person.
Okay.
And times will depend on the type of situation that take the person to the psychologist and how involved the person is. So you can never give a specific number like 6 months, 3, but by start, a psychologist is going to give you 3 months in a sequence. Like, I'm going to work you 3 months, then I'm going to see what's going to change, then we're going to go another 3 months, then a year. So depending on how evolved the people is becoming and how conscious the person is becoming about his issues, it's going to determine how to break up. So answering the question will depend on the level of the changes and the availability of a person to work by his own. And from there, psychologists would start to reduce the time. For example, if we were doing 3 months, we're going to do 1 month, then 2 weeks, then 1 week, then 2 days. So when you start to see the time is decreasing, that means the psychologist is seeing that you getting very autonomous and you can just go by yourself. So it's very influenced by the level and the intensity for starting.
Okay. What strategies can I use to deal with emotions triggered by therapy?
What
strategies can I use to deal with emotions triggered by therapy?
By therapy.
Yes.
Okay. I think what he has to know is how do I have to operate through a therapy? I understand what is my problem. I think is that
okay.
This is how I understood it.
Okay.
So the purpose of a therapist is not to cure, is to clarify. It's to clarify, because you can most of the psychological problem you do not cure directly. You have the people to walk through their problems, because there is a lot of people they suffer from denial. Denial is that when you know that something is wrong with you, but you decide not to believe in it, but taking away all the consequences and the results from it.
Okay.
And what you have to do after, from what you discover from every therapy, is to be conscious of it. Is to understand, look, my problem is my mother. My problem is my father. My problem is that I don't like to take responsibility. My problem is that I don't like to talk to people. So first thing what you do after therapy is to recognize and adopt and assume that you possess it and you're willing to work with that. instead of living on denial. So this is the first thing we have to do.
Hi there, great conversation, Dapher.
Yeah.
Edson de Souza. Edson de Souza is a friend, a very good guy, and I'm looking forward to having him here on Answer My Question too. He's an English teacher.
Okay, that would be great.
Edson, are you also an English consultant? No, he's only an English teacher and also an entrepreneur. Yes, he is an entrepreneur. Let's look at mental health.
Great.
Mental health interest. What trends are you seeing in mental health today? Is there a question, Daniel?
Yeah.
Do you want to? Okay, this is my question, but answer the question coming from the viewer.
I think Sunday PC said that I misunderstood his question.
Yeah.
He came up with the same question. He said, there are many speakers while speaking English. You cannot understand whether they are speaking American or British English.
Great.
This is because they pronounce a single word in a different ways in the same speech. What's your opinion about it?
Okay. I think it goes down to what we were talking before, the identity aspect. And so this is what reflects people not knowing which side they are or which accent or which forms of English they're using, because there is another aspect. If you want to impress in English without increasing your level of knowledge and understanding, you're going to fail completely. And this is what sometimes happens. What happens is they like English, but they didn't define which way they want to take, and they want to embody all the aspect of the language and miss the aspect of identity and consistency. And that's my result in confusion and communication. So what this person needs to do first is to identify if he wants to speak like Mr. Dapher or Mr. VC.
How do you call him? How do you call him? How do you call him? Casual. Do you call him Casual?
When you mentioned his name, like I was like, who is this guy? Because he has a tendency to bring everything into British accent.
I said Casual. I said, Waldemar Casual.
Oh yes, I was asking who's this guy? Yes.
How do you call him?
Kashot, his last name. It's a family name. That's a family name.
Yeah.
That's what I know. That's what I know. So this confusion have, to be solved by identify first what you want, and second, work directly to what you identify with. And another thing the person needs to do to listen to his voice. Record your voice every time it's possible. Pick your phone, put the recorder, and speak English, and listen to how you speak, because when you listen to how you speak, you can identify your mistakes. And some people like to speak, but they don't like to listen to themselves. And so you can identify where you're going wrong. And so this is small techniques from identify what you want and reading things that directly, drives you to what you want, and listen to your voice may reduce this confusion and actually change and be more clear. So I think it's.
I wanted to ask
what happened exactly?
No, I don't. Okay. Sorry?
So what happened exactly when you're trying to communicate, but people don't even understand you, whether you're using American or English or British English?
Okay.
What it meant, not in terms of using one of variety, but in terms of understanding.
Understanding.
And people cannot even identify whether you're using
what variety you are using.
Which variety? Okay. The accent is to some extent confusing, and you can't even understand or make people understand what it's saying. So what is behind this kind of behavior in terms of speaking?
I think it goes down to what I mentioned earlier. I think it's
are we okay in terms of battery?
I think it's
battery. Is it okay?
It's directly connected to identification. I go again to what I said before. People, if people speaks every variety and people have problem to understand him, maybe it's a time to select. I don't know what's the proper solution to this, but what I can mention that it's important to select what you want, because if I'm not understanding, it's not my problem. It's your problem of organization, for example, because I'm going to use the reference of English that I know, which are general, from movies, from books, from people speaking clearly. But if I cannot understand you, maybe it's an aspect of individualism, of the person who's speaking, that he needs to identify properly. He needs to say to himself, look, from now on, I'll be focused more on British, or I'll be focused more on general English, which is American. But people have to define it. And so giving a very open question, a right question to this, it's almost difficult if you're not passing to identify what the people want. You know, that's what actually might happen.
Okay, now my question.
Yeah.
Mental. Yes. What trends are you seeing in mental health today?
It's very often psychologists, when they go to a TV, they say, "Oh, we all bad. We all crazy." Yeah, it's very common.
But are we really crazy?
No, I don't agree with it. So you can have a society all crazy.
Yeah.
You would have a lot of things going wrong, like garbage everywhere, people killing each other. But this is not what happens. I think it's a very exaggerated way of seeing things when you go on a TV. So like, we all bad, we all about to die. No, this is a very dramatic way of seeing things. But there's something we have to pay attention.
Yeah.
The growing relationship with technology may start to bring us a few problems.
Okay.
And when I mention a few problems, have to do with how we take responsibility, how we take things seriously from school, for example, is one of my greatest preoccupation. Because if we are too focused on social media the way we are, where most of the things are centered into drama and pointing finger to each other and all this stuff, that means that we're driving ourselves into a way that we're not going to be able to solve our problems. So one of my greatest preoccupation is the usage of social media.
Okay.
And as a reflection of it, taking responsibility, because we have people going to school, but not very interested on the things they should be, because they want to post an image and reference on Facebook that shows that they're greater than they are. And what has happened is that people start living a double life.
Yeah.
Some, like on social media, you're good, but on your private life, you have a lot of problems. So that's a great issue. We start worrying, because even in a country that they invented the social media, they're having the very same problems. So we are the ones that are receiving the technology. We're going to have the very same problem. So we have to be open and attentive to that. So in order to grow. That's
on the weekend, you didn't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't go anywhere at the weekend, but on Monday you post that you were somewhere.
You see? Yes, that's it. And people might say, "No, that's my life." Okay, that's your life. Perfect. But are you not putting a lot of pressure on you privately, for example? For example, if we meet in person, you might be worried that I will identify some aspect that you posted on Facebook that you don't have. For example, in Austria, a country in Europe, the government has banned the use of filter.
Okay.
Because most of women, they were using filter constantly on Facebook, on social media, and they were afraid to go outside. You see, that's a great problem. You see, they say no more use of filter on Instagram, because it's taking away people from reality. And we, as users here in our country, we all going to have also the same problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to give an example. People are very defensive now. Today, people are very defensive. If we meet in person, the first thing, if you notice the reaction of people, is to protect something like or his character. Or if you start saying something, he may deduce that you're going to say something that he's uncomfortable with. So all this reaction on first glance is a reflection of how each one of us project ourselves on social media.
Okay.
But that's a problem, because you're going to be guarding yourself from being attacked, because you know what you've been doing. That's a great problem. You can develop a problem with trust, for example. You can start trusting people less and less, because you know that as you fake on social media, you believe that everybody fakes too.
Yeah.
But that's a problem you create, and you're trying to project it to other people. Another thing we can start growing up having is the idea of looking to a problem instead of a solution. If Cachote is posting a lot of good video in English and all that, I'm not interested in this. I'm interested in something that he posted is not good. So our all intelligence is driven into something that is not good instead of what has happened positively. So this is a great problem. How is it going to affect the people? he's going to understand that he doesn't need to do everything good because everybody makes mistakes. That's the wrong way to see things. You see, while Caixote is reading and working his project, you're not doing anything. What you're going to do is preparing your critiques over something that's not going good. So this is a problem. You see, and this is what we're developing. You don't do anything, but when someone does, you turn your eyes into what is good, you focus into what is wrong. No, his t-shirt was not very good. His shoes were not very clean.
Yeah.
This is a sign of falsehood that you adopt because you spend most of your time on social media.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great problem. Yes.
How does Can you discuss how mental health is depicted in media, like movies and TV shows?
How? Well, that's a very good and big question. But in terms of a positive, negative,
how does? How can I put this? How can movies, TV shows, and social media help us with our mental health?
Oh, well, from a negative side, it has to do with the fact that I was reading this week an information about the movies, and I'm going to tell a story here. I was reading that in 1881, not 1881, no, it's 1971, America has made a movie with Robert De Niro named The Taxi Driver, that a guy killed the president to impress his girl. Years after, one of the presidents at 1981, the president of America, was almost killed by a guy out of nowhere.
Okay.
And when it's according to the information that I read, the investigation find out that the guy who tried to kill the president was inspired by the movie made in 1971 because he wanted to impress his girlfriend. Yes, I was very astonished with this information. And he was explaining that movies are not simply for entertainment.
Yeah.
Movie is a set of a reality that we all experience. He gave another example. If you struggle to accept part of you, like violence or be aggressive, maybe you're gonna like a movie that represent this kind of things because you're gonna fall in love with this movie because it's a part of you, and you don't accept it. You'll be like, why you like so much? Why you like this move so much? You can't explain it because you are reacting with part of yourself. So going up to your question, this is how we have to see movies. If a movie represents a lot of something good to be, or something bad to be good, this is how we're going to reflect to people. You know, we see now the way the influencer conduct things on social media. So you feel like every day of this influence life is beautiful. There is no way you can conceptualize this. There is no such a thing as being 24-hour happy.
Yeah.
It's the greatest, belief that we have it. We're here making a video, we're gonna edit it maybe after.
No,
we'll
just try it.
But if you record it, you're gonna edit. You're gonna put the music.
Yeah.
You're gonna put light. You're gonna put effects. And this is what you post on Facebook. So I'm watching this and believing that your life is full of those things.
Yeah.
I don't have no idea. This is a recording. This is a voice. This is a scene. This is a movie. And we lose the sense of these details, and that's influence us in the wrong way.
Okay.
You see, let's say, for example, this idea that everybody is an entrepreneur. He create a business, he post a photo, everybody's doing something. There is something that is very common in us in Angolan, is that we declare victory before even launch a grenade. If you create a logo and post on Facebook, you pretty much happy because you posted, not because you have all the strategy elaborated. And that's what makes us live in quite a little bit false identity. And most of our things don't go far away because of this.
Yes.
Because if you see Caixote is making video of a kid speaking English, you're not worried with this because you don't understand the process. You don't want to know how he did it, because You don't want to understand that you're going to spend 2 hours writing and reading. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Or you wanted how he get there. No, you have to ask us, look, this video that you made, how did you do it? How can you make a 5 years old speak English? This is the question we have to make. But all we want to do, like, oh, the video didn't have a lot of light, or the sound was not good. So this is a very good excuse for those people who doesn't do anything. And this is what we should be very focused on. And yeah, it bothers me a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very
our time is going.
Yes.
How does socioeconomic status affect mental health?
Great. That's a good question. One of the discussions I've been having lately with my close friend is about this. Let's remember something. Most of us, a financial problem doesn't also related with our economy.
Okay.
It's also related with family structure.
Okay.
I'm going to dive you deep into this. We all know that most of us know people that they're the only one in the family that works.
The breadwinner, yes?
You see, he's the young man. He has 19 years old. He looks for a job. He's going to get 20. He's still working. He has a little brother, his father, to feed. When the little guy decides to get married or find a relationship, how do you think he's going to think about finance, for example? He's always under pressure because he has a big family to feed and also has his family. The chance of this guy to grow up financially are negative because he has a lot of things to spend money for. And when we project ourselves to develop professionally, we have to take that in our mind that sometimes we not go farther, not because we're not able. It's because we have a lot of things to solve. You know, even if you do not spend a lot of money, there's an emotional pressure because your brother is not going to school. We didn't pay the fee. Your sister is not sleeping because he's not eating. This information blocks you to think the next step because you are emotionally discharged. And this is a reality that we forget when we see Angolan guys developing. Because when you see a guy as Dapher, Cachot, and Daniel growing, even though with all these problems, stop looking to what is wrong.
Yeah.
Because we all pass through it. He's the only one who get the money. And this put in practice. People are saying, look, in other countries, young men, they decide, quit the work and they focus on their project. And we should do this. We forget this aspect. If you quit your job now, you have your brother, your sister, your family in the back. Who's going to give them conditions? Nobody. So that means the chance of you to give up your job and focus on the project is zero because you have a lot of worries on your back.
Yeah.
So it's not about capacity. It's about emotional organization and family structure. This is why we say, I don't like to say it, but the light skins are smart. They're not smart. I'm not saying general. What they do is this. I'm going to put you in this work. This guy's going to put this guy in that work, and this guy's going to put in this work. So what's going to happen? Nobody's going to ask money at nobody. We're going to meet at the party, at the funerals, and nobody's worried who's not working, who's not doing this. And what we do, you are the only one working. You're going to be the big, how do you call it?
Fish.
Yeah, the big fish of the family. That's just the biggest mistake we always do. The best thing you want to do if you're working, put your brother working or doing something because you want a financial relief. But if you want to take all the pressure because you have the money, you're going to take all the emotional charge. And you have one problem. If you decide to quit your job, you're not going to sleep because you're going to fear to lose the power that you had. And that's a very big problem. So that's how we should start seeing the things. You know, that's
Kazenga is proud, my bro. This is. How can I read his name? Okay, I will read it in Portuguese.
Yes.
Arthur Bonifácio.
Oh yes, I know him. It's
Otter.
Yeah.
Arthur.
Yeah.
Otter.
Yes.
Otter Bonifácio or Arthur? Arthur. Yes, Arthur Bonifácio. Arthur. Kazenga is proud, my bro.
Oh, great.
Good.
Great.
Oh, so he's your brother.
Yes.
And Keshot said that our boy.
Yeah. But look, it's very important to talk about this family structure because we overjudge ourselves. Like, this guy is not capable. He doesn't have skill. No. If you have a lot of emotional pressure, your skills are not going to come out. I'm going to give an example. If you are about to have a test, and all of a sudden you are informed that a lion is going to take charge of the class or control the test, what think is going to happen with your skills? It's going off the roof because you're going to be worried that the lion is going to worry on you or eat, and all your instincts will be focused on survival. And this is what happens when you focus on survival. you don't focus on reasoning. I mean, your idea flows, goes because you focus on eating. This is why I don't like the word hustle. For some reason, I hate
Hustlers.
it. Yes, I don't like it because it gives...
We are hustlers.
No, people at home, don't take me back.
Yeah.
I don't like this word because it puts you at survival mode.
Okay.
And the place you don't want to be in is at survival mode, because at survival mode, your thinking reduce, your focus diminish, because you want to survive. Maybe you're not about to survive. You want to think on your plane. You want to put your plane in order. But the idea of hustling is that you have to do something fast and quick, and give money fast. It consumes you a lot of energy when things go sideways, and you lose the opportunity to organize your mind and your ideas. And people think that being on survival mode is the best way. No, you make a lot of mistakes. You can do business because you are in a hurry, and that's dangerous. And so that's my take on this.
Who is she?
For sure. Oh, it's a neighbor.
The goat, she said.
And we've been working some good ideas.
Yeah.
It's
Cassie.
Yeah.
Cassie Miguel.
Okay. We've been talking about Africa. We discussed
Does
a
she
lot
speak
about
English?
this. No.
Oh, it's she? Oh, wait.
No. Oh,
Cassie.
No, Cassie is a guy from Belladonna. He's my neighbor.
I saw. But that seems to be a woman, no? It is a man in the picture.
No, let's see. No, it's a man. I think I don't know for which reason why he put his name, but it's a man.
Oh,
yeah. He's a very good African intellectual.
Oh, okay.
We've been discussing a lot about
I thought
this.
that was hair.
Yes.
Long hair. Yeah. It's a
man.
Sorry.
We've been discussing a lot about this.
Sorry.
This is the other one.
Yeah. It's him. Cassie.
For sure.
Okay. Daniel, over to you. We're about to say goodbye.
Yes.
It's almost 2 hours.
Yeah, almost 2 hours. It has gone without even noticing. Yes.
Yeah, but we're learning a lot from you. That's why you're here.
Today we're learning a lot.
Actually, we've been learning not only today.
Of course.
Because every edition.
Last week we've been learning a lot.
Last week we learned a lot about English language teaching, school management, school management, English language teaching. So
HR.
Different guests.
Yeah.
That's why we always ask about the areas of interest.
Yeah.
Because some people have been asking us the topics.
Yeah.
What are you discussing? No, we are not discussing anything.
It's an open conversation.
Yes, an open conversation based on the guest areas of interest.
Yeah.
So what are your areas of interest? You have to tell us. Because if we say today we are going to discuss politics, there are people who don't like discussing politics.
It's a very sensible issue.
Yeah. Religion. No, if we start talking about Christianity, okay, some people are, atheists.
Yeah.
If we start talking about Christianity, but talking about what they preach, some people like Mr. Nzaz, he is a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And there are things that, like, let's talk about, are you a Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah.
If we talk about Trinity, what's that?
That's a very...
We don't discuss Trinity, you see, and you will live the life.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're both the guest and the
audience.
The host.
Yeah.
They are talking about things that we don't believe in.
Sure.
So that's why we like talking about things that are about you.
But that's also great because the viewers, they can identify the experience.
Yes.
And that's how I think it's always good based on experience, because we never know who's going to like it.
Yeah.
And who's going to benefit from this.
So that's why we stop talking about, like you said about politics. For me, politics, I will be asking you a question on the party, the ruling party.
It's always this.
And when you start talking about that,
you're going to divide the audience.
Yes, a question, someone from MPLA, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
They know that the president is not doing great things, but they will say... So
let's
say that...
I think it's better discussing intellectuals. I think it's
stop
better,
it. So that we discuss it while we are not on.
Sure.
Okay, Daniel, over to you. Mr. Kando's question?
From Mr. Kando.
He was working. He was working, and he said that he was working, and all of a sudden there was a power cut.
Oh, that's bad. I'm sorry, my friend.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to read them one by one?
Oh,
I
really?
read one each?
Yeah,
one by one. So one by one, so as they
One by
can
one, right? Okay.
get them.
And the first question from
Wait,
me.
Keshot, you brought some books, right? What will you do so that?
Yeah, for you to offer to followers.
How am I going to do that? Can I have them, Daniel?
I think I would take one. You can offer me too. I'm a follower.
Take care of yourself. Oh, come on, Daniel. For me,
I'm also a viewer.
Oh, let me see this.
I'm a viewer.
Oh, that's great.
you're a viewer.
Thank
Daniel,
you.
Daniel is
Uh-huh.
a viewer and also a writer.
Oh,
He's
great,
a
great,
he's
great.
a writer, an author. Yes.
I know him.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
before this,
I think- With questions. Yeah,
Oh,
questions.
guys, there were four books, two of which were taken by the viewers that I.
So there are books.
I would say I'm also a viewer.
I'm sure.
Yes.
So what was the
Daniel.
first question?
Yes.
Yeah, and the first question from this candidate is, can you please elaborate on organizational psychology in the Angolan setting? This is the
Okay.
first question.
Okay. Great. Well, it's at the Angola settings. It also falls up to the category. I think it falls up to the general. From our reality, the idea doesn't stay away from what is the standard, which is help the companies at their people management level, understanding, for example, how our differences affects the way we work. For example, it's very common to us miss to the work because our cousin or aunt or uncle died, and this is something that maybe the Constitution doesn't assist, but something very important to us. And organization psychology can also, look at these things and see, look, for us, the concept of family is more extended. So it's important to take in account these details in order to have us more committed to the work. So in our reality, the organization psychology wants to focus on those aspects that's very common in our way of being, of dealing with things, what identify us, what block us from working or to be more productive, and bring solution to that. So at our reality is more over bridging our most constant aspect of references and bridge it with human resource or people management in order to help them do their best and make the people grow their ability and productivity of the company. So that's what I can elaborate very quickly.
Just a second. Who has to? Casey. Okay. George Mazanza says, "I'm learning a lot."
Yeah.
Dapher and you, Nicolau.
Oh, thank you.
Casey Miguel. Who has to send the IBAN? Keshot, Nicolau, or me? Because said, tell him to send his IBAN. Who has to send
yours.
the IBAN?
Send yours.
Me?
For the name of the. It have to be yours.
Who has to send that? Because said, tell him to send his IBAN. Who?
You.
No, I think it's you.
I think it's you.
No, it has
It's
to
you,
be in
not
the name
me.
of the project, and then we discuss financial issue outside of the air. I think
Yeah.
it's fair. What was the second
Oh,
question?
Nicolau, it's Nicolau, it's you. It's you.
Me?
Yes.
Well,
He commented
well,
saying
that's
it's
a very-
you. Yes.
It's a medical. From NECA.
Okay.
NEC, yes.
Who's this guy? Let me see this.
No, the same one that I showed you.
Okay. Oh, I got it. What was the second question?
Okay. Very, very intelligent. I have no question to ask. There is. It's gone. I'll read it.
Okay,
Yes.
the second question from me, from Ms. Nzazi, is, what can you tell to those who relate the job of psychologist with that of psychiatrist?
Psychiatrist. Yeah.
What do I have to say?
What can you tell to those who are related to job of psychologist with that of psychiatrist?
How can we differentiate
okay.
a psychologist from a psychiatrist?
Great.
Because there are some people think that a psychologist does the same job that a psychiatrist does.
The closest example for this is the architecture and civil engineer. You see how they're different and related at the same time? The architecture, he elaborated the plans, in the board and all this stuff, the design and all these things. And then to put it in practice, he calls a civil engineer. So that's the relationship between the psychologist and psychiatry. The psychologist takes psychological issues like stress, anxiety, fears, phobia, and all this stuff. But when this sickness or these psychological issues affect the people biologically or with more time, with a later, deeper effect, like, for example, people is having, let's say, double conflict of personality, for example. Sometimes he feels some things, and other time he feels another thing. Maybe his mind is producing more chemical than other. So this job of psychiatrist to help him, to guide him through the medical aspect and say, so you have to drink this, you have to drink that, and you have to do this, and you have to do this. So this is why you see that there is a hospital-specific psychiatry, but you see there's different places for psychologists. And one example is one of our hospital. So when the sickness goes deeper into biological level and changes, we take it to psychiatry based on the time and the consistency. But if it's something that can be taken at the level of psychology through communication, through therapy, through behavioral change, psychology take part of it. But if it's deeper than that take the people from the reality, we take him to a psychologist, to psychiatrists.
Okay, but do psychologists and psychiatrists work in partnership?
Sure. For example, let's say I'm working with someone that has anxiety problems, and we identify that he doesn't have too much reasons to be anxious.
Yes.
You see, through the conversation, we see his finances in order, his family is in order, and well, his relationship with people is in order, but he's still anxious very frequently. So I can call a psychiatrist, for example, and say, look, I have this person. I looked at this data and that and that, and I feel like he's good. He doesn't have too much to worry, but I would like you to look at look at him at different perspective.
Yes.
Let's make him a test, like a biological test, like sickness and all the stuff to see how consistent he is with his memory, with his imagination, if he's not hallucinating. So psychiatrists can give a feedback over and say, look, his problem is biological. So we're going to give him this pill or that pill. I'm going to invite him from this section and that section and see what's going to happen. So we kind of like work together. So when I feel like the problem is out of my space, I call the psychiatrist.
Okay.
And that's it.
And his last question is,
Yeah.
in terms of being consultants,
Yes.
what is the approach when clients require your exclusiveness and you can't meet that expectation?
Wow. I think I do the diverse same job as psychologist and psychiatrist. I normally call other people that I believe to be good at what they want. I'll give an example. There are a lot of people come to me and say, look, I don't speak English. I want to learn English from the beginning. I tell them, look, I do not teach English for beginner.
Like general English.
General English.
Yeah.
I'm a consultant for fluency recovery. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call Francisco. He's a good friend of mine. I think you know him from Kazega too. And by the way,
Francisco.
Yeah.
Francis Lenio.
Yeah, Francisco. Yes.
Yeah.
We work.
Francis Lenio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I tell him, look, I'm going to connect.
He's our competitor.
He's a good guy. He's a very creative.
As an English teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's very creative.
He said you are
One day I saw him.
friend.
I saw him a post from that day on. I like this guy. I said, I like this guy. I'm going to work with this guy. So I said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give you English from beginning. I'm going to connect you to this guy. What I'm going to do is consultancy. I'm going to watch you through the steps. I'm going to be in constant feedback with him to see how you guys are doing. I'm going to be suggesting to you through psycholinguistic conversation to release the blockage on your learning, and they're going to help you in that. So this is basically what I do. When
Are you
I
tired,
can't,
Daniel?
I connect it to.
Are you tired?
I
the only
connect
one who
other
has to say
Uh-huh.
that is tired
Yes.
is the guest, not you.
And let me take the time.
I'm just worried about the battery.
No, 35 minutes, no, 35%
Yes.
is something like an hour.
Let me take the time
So we
to
still have
say
2 hours here.
that
It's not
for me,
20%.
whenever a guy speak English and have is creative,
Yeah.
I always fall in love with this.
That's
Me
good.
and Francisco, we met 5 years ago.
Okay.
We never spoke. But one day I saw something he posted on Facebook. He gave an interview for Vox. I think it's Vox.
No,
Yeah.
VOA.
VOA, yes.
VOA. Voice of America,
Yeah.
Brazil. Voice
I-
of America, Brazil.
I
Yeah.
like the courage that he had. And I saw what I did. I called him again right away. I said, look, I like your job. I want to work with you.
That's
And whenever a guy's from Kazenga, he does great. Look, because I have a lot of contact on me. A lot of people contact me like, I want to learn things. I can't help it. I always reach to other people because I think if you cannot do it, you cannot hold it. You have to call people who know how to do better and do it. And so it's all in the family. And this is how we develop.
Yeah, because lots of people look down on Kazenga.
No.
When
And that's a big-
they
that's
look
a
at
big mistake.
Kazenga, they say that
They have no idea.
yes, people there are only worried about fighting, BS, which is not true.
No, they have no idea. They have
So
no
I
idea.
think people say things like those are those who have never been to Kazenga.
Sure.
And they only see like Falangola, you see. When they watch Falangola, they see people fighting. That's Kazenga. No way, man.
And people don't believe when they say,
That's
look,
what the PPA portrays.
yeah.
Yes, and now Zimbo.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a very, very negative picture. And so that's it. Whenever I don't waste time to bridge with someone who does great.
Yeah.
We can met today. If I know you're creative, I see your work. By the way, I saw the young girl that you posted on Facebook speaking English. I really, I think is one of the hardest things to do, teaching kids.
Yeah.
Yes, it's. We gotta give a flower to this guy.
No, I told you, my daughter ran away. She was 12 and
Yes.
she ran away.
yes. And I'm also building some sort of tips to help people teach English to kids, to
Okay.
daughters and sons. I'm going to mix up English and psychology for learning, and I'm going to bring to the public because I think maybe some people they want to do it because it's not about capacity.
Yeah.
Believe me, teaching kids is not about capacity. It's about techniques. For example, I explore the psychological level of my kids. I don't put them on a chair to learn. All I do is that if they're going to sleep, I say good night. If they wake up, I say good morning. If they're smiling, I put words in their mouth. If they're pointed something, I point in English. If they don't want to,
They're going to school. See you later.
all the
Have a
action
nice
language.
day.
Yes, that's people always ask me.
I say até logo.
Yes.
Oh, see you later, man. Go to school.
People always ask, what do you do? What did you do? How come it's very easy?
Yeah.
If you spend time at your home, it's much easier for you.
Okay.
And my wife also does a great job. Do a great job on this one. And she has an afternoon reading session.
Yeah.
When it's 3 p.m., he throw all the books in the living room, and they're playing, and they know where the books. They pick the books, start reading and pointing. They said this is a very. I think most of what they learn is not with me. It's my wife. All I do is assisting what is going sideways.
Good.
And so that's
Right.
a very good team up on this one. Yeah.
Who's Braulio? Braulio Fortunato. I'm loving it. Got my eyes on you guys. Thank you so much, Braulio. Is it time we said goodbye?
It depends on.
It's 8 to 9.
I think we should.
It's
we should
8 to
just
9.
go.
Guys, we have to say
I
goodbye.
think we've
we
we've
really
reached it.
have to say goodbye.
yes.
If you've just
8 to
joined us,
9.
it's 8.
Wow, it's
Yeah, 8 to 9.
Yeah.
a long time.
If you've just joined us, this is Answer My Questions. It's a podcast in English. We've been live streaming. Yes, we've been going live every Sunday. 6:30, sometimes 6:35. We often have different guests who come here and answer my questions and also your questions. Although the podcast is Answer My Questions with Dapher, actually I'm not the only one who has been asking questions. Dozens of questions have been coming of you as viewers. Please don't finish. We're finishing, Cassie. Nicolau has to go. And he said, please, Nicolau, send your IBAN. He wrote it it's twice or 3 times.
It's very uncomfortable in a public. I don't know.
No, I said.
what do you advise me? Maybe
I
I'm
sent
not
him
clear.
I said I replied to his comment saying that he'll
Who
get
is
in
this?
touch with you.
Let me see.
Here's your phone number.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Daniel, look for Manuel Afonso's question.
Okay.
Manuel Alfonso, right? Okay.
Okay, where is it? Yeah, you know him.
Oh,
I showed him.
Oh, this guy, the Cassie?
Yeah, Cassie.
I know him. It's I take him.
Question.
Yeah, we're gonna solve it
America.
privately.
Oh, okay. Yeah, talk to him.
Manuel Alfonso.
Aparicio. Where?
Oh, that's great.
Hey, I will read this.
Okay.
Aparicio. Aparicio
Oh.
means it's someone. Hi, bro. God bless you. Aparicio is someone who we were not neighbors, but we grew up together in Gulf Doors.
Oh, great.
Yes. He was my friend and neighbor's classmate, and we grew up together. We played football together. Aparicio, good to see you. I didn't know that you spoke English. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Maybe
Yeah.
he saved it from you.
Okay, I've already seen
Oh,
the
it's
question
him.
from
Yeah,
Manuel
we grew up
Alfonso.
together. You know.
Oh, great.
Now he's in Portugal. Yes, because
Oh,
you can
great.
see that this is not Gulf Doors, man.
From the look
Even
of
the
that.
beach. This beach is not in Gulf Doors.
Oh,
I know that. Yes, Daniel.
I've seen already a question from Manuel Alfonso. The presence first, your presence on answer my question.
Oh, great.
The question from him is, what do you think people, when they talk about American or British, English compare pronunciation only,
oh.
and
Yeah.
how about vocabulary and grammar?
Yeah.
You see, this is. I think it's the third time we are.
Yeah.
We
So
are
when
answering this
when
question.
people talk about American English, they are talking about internet,
Yeah.
center,
Yeah.
banner.
Pronunciation.
They are only focused
Focus on
on pronunciation, but they don't talk about
Needed
vocabulary.
words,
Yeah. So what's your take on
vocabulary
that?
in general and grammar.
What's take on that?
And my question is, why we even look? I see language at a much deeper level. At a much deeper level, because when language creates or evolves, it evolves inside of a group, inside of a culture, with influence. So they decide what they're going to take in consideration, what they're not. And I think they discuss more the aspect of accent because I think it's the beautiful part of a language. Like,
Okay.
Accent is the hardest thing to get, and also one of the beautiful things in the language. And again, I think this discussion comes from something that we miss, the movies.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we all have American in our minds, and
Yeah.
at some silently people believe that American English is superiority. I mean, gives you have more
It's
prestige.
superior than British. Yes.
So marketing the language as well. Of this accent, this such.
You see.
Language as well.
So these illusions all around American English and the movie that consists or influenced this originate this kind of discussion. Again, this is what we said before. I don't think there must be reasons for discussion, even level of accent, vocabulary, or grammar, because both languages
You said it's a
evolve.
necessary discussion. Yes.
It's unnecessary
Okay.
because we're never going to reach up to a conclusion. You're never going to find a guy who speaks British in America reach up to a conclusion.
Yeah.
It's like Barcelona and Real Madrid fight. Nobody's going to. Yes.
I have a friend,
Uh-huh.
American friend, has gone to school.
Yes.
Actually, he's a student, but don't sound with a rhotic accent.
Okay.
He says most of his professors there, they don't sound with a rhotic accent.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why, but when he goes outside of the college,
Yeah.
he start hearing people with that rhotic accent.
Okay.
And it is in America.
Yeah.
And here we tend to discuss a lot when you sound with a rhotic accent or not,
Yeah.
and we forget about making ourselves understood.
For sure.
We leave communication
For sure.
aside when it couldn't be one of the core issue to discuss.
For sure.
When we come across, and people out there, they're not worried about of those kind of issues regarding to accent. They just want you to communicate, to make yourself understood, and people understand you as well. it stops the communication.
But we have this complexity over everything. For example, if you guys from Nerf, we always mark the aspect of R, for example.
Yes.
So we tend to transcend all the complexity we have on our culture into everything. And I call it complexity because you forget, as you said, the bigger aspect of the language, you just focus on one detail. For example, if you're not able to say R from Nerf and I'm from Rwanda, if we're going to make a test, none of the guy who's going to validate us is not going to be able to notice who's from Nerf, who's from Rwanda, from a written language.
Yes.
You know, and if you not mention R correctly, that doesn't reflect on your intelligence. That reflects on your sound, and sound is not sign of intelligence in any form. You know, and this is where we start. We start focus on things that doesn't reflect anything, and we make it reflect something.
Yeah.
And there is also this illusion that British English is more intellectual.
No.
You know? And this is another problem. In American English, we believe that you have a prestige, you are high ranked. On a British, you are intellectual. But this illusion, this is what we created. There is nothing about this. If you read a book that is written from a British literature, you're going to read it in an American accent, for example. That's going to sound the same as was written. If you do this in reverse, it's going to be the same. But we create this illusion of intellectual, of a prestige, because we always want to find something to identify as the highest and the lowest, because this is how we operate. But that doesn't, I'm going to give you another example. If it's a prestige, that means that every American kid is more important than you. If American English is prestige, every little boy in America, whatever his age, as long as he speaks English, is better than you. And if British English is intellectual, every little boy in England, whatever is his age, is more intellectual than you. If you're not ready to assume it, you cannot discuss this. And so that's the things we have to look at.
Daniel, we have to say goodbye. It's 9. It's 1 minute
That's
past
for sure.
9.
That's
Well,
for sure.
this book will go to Branka. Branka is a pre-intermediate student. Yeah, Branka is a pre-intermediate student. This one.
Okay, that's great.
This one I would
Oh,
try
thanks for the offer.
That's for you.
That's great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
I think
Please.
this book come on time. That's my my field of
Knowledge.
yeah, yes.
Okay. All right. If this is your first time to view, Answer My Questions, as I was saying, this is Answer My Questions, a podcast which is done in English. We go live every Sunday at 6:30 with a different guest who come here to answer questions on different areas of study. And I'm pretty sure that today, like the other editions, you learned a lot from not from me, because I don't share anything, and I haven't been sharing anything on Answer My Questions, but you learned a lot from our guest. I know that he had lots of things to share with us, lots of questions to answer, like should I say like how to, we were talking about personal development. We didn't talk about it, but I'm pretty sure that those questions, yours and mine, that he answered, they were really helpful.
For sure.
I am Dapher, David Fernando, and he is Nicolau Lucala, who is a psychologist now, and an organizational psychologist, and also an English consultant. So if you need anything from him, like consultancy, get in touch with him. If you are looking for an English partner, like you want to improve your fluency, talk to him. An English-speaking partner, look for Valdemar Kashot, VC English Club in Kazenga.
Great.
Yes, VC. Good.
Yeah.
All right. I have
you.
to talk about my friend's business.
Great. Now for sure.
Yeah, I have to do that
For sure.
because I usually say that I know
It's off,
that
right?
when they we're about to finish. I know that when Kashot gets like a big contract, he will look for his friends and he will
for
call
sure.
me, Dapher. There's
sure.
something for you. Come and join this project. Okay. See you next Sunday. I hope to see you on the other side. Bye bye.
Thank you.